guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you're here today. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Yessie and I help people manage their home that are dealing with depression, anxiety, and or ADHD. And as always, all of these tips can be used if you're not dealing with this. It's just specifically made sometimes for those of us who need a little bit more help with organization or that our systems are a little bit different than the typical systems you would see out there. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on bathrooms and restrooms, and I'm going to focus on ways that we can clean it, maintain it, and always stay a little bit on top of it. Now, most of the tips that I'm going to share with you guys have ADHD in mind, but keep this in mind. If you have anxiety and depression, you're more than likely very low energy. So anything that I share that's ADHD will absolutely help you as well. I always share these tips with anyone dealing with Hashimoto's or chronic illness because they are also deeply affected by ways that they manage their home. There's going to be a few tweaks that I may mention throughout the video, may say that this is more ADHD specific, or this is more chronic illness specific, or this can help both. But in general, I tend to just have a very small disclaimer where I say this may not work for you if this is the case. So I'm always very, very open about it. And yeah, I know as a mom that deals with ADHD, depression, and anxiety, it can be very difficult to create systems. Recently, though, I have learned that I have to make systems not just for myself, but also a few members of my household that need additional help with systems. And that can be very stressful, especially if you're trying to figure that out for yourself. In doing so, it really hit me. There's a lot of families out there that are struggling to make systems that fit one box, which is almost impossible half of the time. But if we can reduce the amount of steps that we take when it comes to creating the systems, maintaining them, and utilizing them, then maybe, just maybe, we can remove some of that stress. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do and you're new, don't forget to subscribe so that you get notifications of when I post again. I will be posting every single week for you guys, and this is day 1 of the first series of setting up systems for homes that deal with ADHD, depression, or anxiety. If you like this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button and yeah, let's get started. As always, I'm going to have a quick disclaimer on these videos. I know a lot of people understand what I mean by mental health struggles, depression, and anxiety, but sometimes in the comments, people tend to share their experiences, and I just ask that everybody be mindful and kind in this space. This is a safe space for all of my viewers, and I just don't want to see the type of comments where they say, well, I've dealt with this and I was able to manage. I think if you dealt with this and you were able to manage, you should be proud of yourself, but you should not be on the internet putting anyone else down for this. This is not the space for that. So if these are the type of comments that you want to share down below, I would kindly ask you to refrain yourself from that because again, this is a safe place and I don't want it to become something that it's not. This is an educational video and I hope to share my own experiences in doing so, but I don't want to create a hostile environment for anybody. And again, if you've dealt with this and you were able to handle it, I am so deeply proud of you. Just understand that you should share kindness because you know the struggle instead of sharing shame. I don't think that's helpful at all. So let's get started.
Okay, guys, so the first thing that I want to show you today is it's important to set up systems that are going to help you diminish the amount of time you spend while cleaning. And oftentimes, most of our cleaners are going to be scattered or in a place where we think it's going to be reasonably accessible. But if you have a two-story home, or if the storage of these cleaners are in the garage, or they're in a closet that is completely opposite end of where the bathrooms are, then it's not helping you to diminish that time. So on today's video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a caddy that holds all of your cleaners and what cleaners you should have and focus on. Now, when you have ADHD, it's very tempting to try all of the fancy gadgets, to try all of the fancy cleaners, and then get stuck not using a single one. So I am going to focus on every zone of the bathroom and have a cleaner for that zone. Typically, you're going to have a toilet, so we need toilet bowl cleaner. You're going to have mirrors or glass, so we need glass cleaner. You're going to have surfaces, so we need a multi-surface cleaner. And more than likely, some of the tools that you might need are a sponge or cloths or paper towels, your choice. So I'm setting up two cloths here per caddy, one for surfaces and one for glass because I use two different cleaners. Then I like to have a sponge um wand, excuse me, a sponge wand because these are really, really nice to be able to clean the tubs and the showers, especially if you're in the shower already. Then I include some of the toilet add on cleaners, which usually are these little scented tabs. You don't have to have those, it's just an add on that I like having. And then I like having different options for glass cleaners. That's just because that's what I have at home. But typically, I recommend just having the one. You can use vinegar or you can use a specific glass cleaner. They're both going to work the same. Then, if you have bottles like this one that's clear with no label and no way to tell what it is, I urge you to please label them. Why? Well, these systems are meant to not just work for you, but they're meant to work for anybody in the house. We are trying to create systems that will literally make it so easy that a stranger can come in and clean the area and know what they're looking for. But if you have these clear bottles with no labels, how would anyone know what it's for, right? So I'm using my label maker. I have different ones that I've used in the past, some that I've tried out, some are awful, some are great. I'll have a link for the top ones that I like, but you want to label everything. And right now I'm labeling the bottles that are multi-surface cleaners and glass cleaners. My glass cleaners only have white vinegar with a little bit of water, and my multi-surface cleaners are a mixture of a concentrate and water that I like to have. It just makes it easier for me. Always label things and let your children know, especially if you have children, that these are cleaners and they're not to be played with. If you like to have an area where your kids could access it and possibly help you clean, I urge you to make sure you're using the right products around them and to always know what is safe and not safe. Usually, you want to let them know if a cleaner could irritate their eyes and what to do, but I just urge everyone to know exactly what the steps should be for that when it comes to children. I like to keep mine away from an area where it's easily accessible. However, if I don't have that area to kind of put them away, then I only have cleaners that are safe to be around my children, which are typically your vinegars and some Castile soap and cloths. Those are not going to harm them anywhere as much as a normal day to day cleaner that you may have at home. So, something to think about. Some of the cleaners that I like to use are hydrogen peroxide. Keep in mind that this bottle must remain dark. You cannot put hydrogen peroxide in clear bottles at all. So I just use the bottle that it comes with and I took one of the little sprayers and put it onto the bottle. This will actually help you clean any chrome or shiny surfaces like the faucets and areas of your sink. So I like having at least one of those available for me when cleaning. I also like to make sure that if there's a surface that doesn't need harsh chemicals, that I note that. But I'll label everything here and just make sure that everything is easily accessible. Now, if you don't like having like certain cloths in there, you can just have a container of disinfecting wipes or you can have also some paper towels. It may not always fit into your container, so that might be something you just have off to the side like I typically do because I'm pretty much packed on my caddy. But it's important just to know which ones you prefer and then have them nearby. You can put them behind the toilet where it's kind of hidden and it's not easily accessible as much to some people, or it's kind of off to the side. Or you can have them by the sink, but you must have them somewhere visible. And I know this is off putting, but when you have ADHD, it has to be visible. Of course, if you don't deal with ADHD, then it can just go under the sink because you always remember that it's there. But we need to have some visuals. I also like to make sure everything's fully labeled. I label mine either bathrooms or restrooms because not all of my restrooms have showers. So some of those cleaners will not be a part of it. But this is a very simple, very achievable thing you can do at home, and I highly suggest it.
Okay, so now that I've shown you how to get your caddy ready, I want to show you why it's important, how it's going to help you, and realistically, how much time you should be spending on cleaning your bathroom. Because we can have the caddy, we can have the tools, but now we need the actual system implemented. So let me show you. When walking into your bathroom, I always teach people, and this doesn't have to apply to the bathroom rule, this can be for anything. You want to clean from one direction to the other. So we're going to go ahead and grab our caddy, which should have all of our cleaners, and it should be very simple. You don't need to have like 25 tools, 25 cleaners for any of that. It really isn't necessary. You have your toilet bowl cleaner, your glass cleaner, and your multi-purpose cleaner. You have two cloths to clean. If you don't like cloths, you can have the paper towels, a sponge, or a sponge wand. It could be any brand that you like. I just like using these in the shower. And that's really all you need. And the reason we're keeping it simple is because the more we add, the more we have to maintain. We're trying to reduce that. We just want what we need. So again, when we are cleaning from left to right or right to left. The reason being is people with ADHD tend to get distracted very easily. And when you already have a method in mind, you're not going to get distracted as easily. It's going to be as easy as just starting and going, and you don't really have to put much thought process into it, which is the important thing. So start from left to right. Once you've put everything back where it belongs, we're going to clean from top to bottom. And let me tell you why. I'm showing here my vanity, and I'm going to tell you why it's important to clean from top to bottom. When you're cleaning, everything that's dust and dirt will fall down to the next level. If you clean your vanity and then go to dust your mirror, all of that is going to fall into the already clean vanity. If you clean the vanity and you've cleaned the floors and there's dust and hair and everything in there, all of that is going to fall into the clean floors. So we're going to take care of the mirrors, we're going to take care of the vanity, and last, the floors. That should always be the way when you're cleaning, because all of that falls down to the next level. And that's really about it, guys. When it comes to setting up a system, you want to make sure your cleaners are easily accessible. You want to make sure you have a 2 to 3 step follow process for cleaning, which should be one direction to the other, top to bottom, floors last, and that's it. I know it seems really weird because everywhere we look at, all of the accounts that we look at, they have all of these very intricate cleaners and tools, and you must do A, B, C, D, and then sometimes X. And honestly, it's so hard to follow. It's very simple to get lost in between the chaos of what social media has now painted cleaning to be. And when you have ADHD, when you have depression, when you have anxiety, we cannot afford to get lost in this. So if you liked the video, let me know in the comments below. I am going to be posting more systems for you guys. This is just the first video of all the systems that we have. And if you want a link for anything that you saw today, it's not going to be exactly, because some of these things I've had for a very long time, but I will put together a curated list of the things that you should keep in mind for your caddy. And I will also put the instructions below on how to clean, in what direction and whatnot. And yeah, I'm so excited that you guys got to see this today. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.